California, where tonight Nolan Ryan makes his final start ever at the Oakland Coliseum. It's the Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's. 2 outs, man on third base, and Troy Neal with a fly ball to Juan Gonzalez, and that will do it in the first inning. Nolan Ryan, the major league all-time strikeout leader, making his 3rd start since coming off the disabled list, and with the Rangers 4.5 games behind, the Chicago White Sox are first in the American League West. Texas skipper Kevin Kennedy saying Ryan is the ace they need to get through the second half and challenge for their first division title. Texas came in tonight 5 games behind the Chicago White Sox in the American League West. Meantime, the Oakland A's are 13 games back, and they are beginning to make the phone calls that might bring them the deal. And we understand that Sandy Alderson has been on the phone all day long, and the man that has been most interested in that conversation, not only Tony La Russa, but the character is Rickey Henderson. We talked with Sandy Alderson about the phone calls that he's had tonight.
Well, there has been a lot of speculation about Rickey and where he might be by the trading deadline tomorrow night. All I can say is that we have had some discussions with other clubs. There has been some interest on the part of other teams, and we are talking with them. Ultimately, Rickey has the right to say yes or no to any deal negotiate. So we're keeping him abreast of exactly where we are. But right now, I honestly could not tell you whether he will be traded or not. It is possible, however.
Fans are here. They are still supporting their left fielder, but Henderson himself has claimed that a number of teams have been interested in acquiring him, but Henderson has a no trade clause in his contract. Tony La Russa, though, had him penciled into the lineup tonight, and then an hour before the ball game took him out. Later it was explained that he had a stiff neck, but Henderson, having a marvelous road trip where the A's went 4-11, though he hit .425, he reported to practice at 4:30 and looked in great shape at that time. But even if the A's deal Rickey Henderson for prospects, Henderson said he would make them surrender a good amount to buy out the clause. Now, Henderson has said he will not come cheaply. He wants his next contract to be for at least 4 seasons at a minimum of $5 million a year. We talked with Sandy Alderson moments ago, and he said, I will be here until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. No deal has been made, but I will be here every single moment. And as soon as some deal has been struck, we'll talk with ESPN at that time. Well, here we go. Top of the 2nd inning, and Gino Petrale flies out to his former teammate Ruben Sierra for the first out. Let's take a look at the Texas lineup. Gary Reedus leading things off. He doubled, came around to score on the Juan Gonzalez single up the middle. Franco Palmeiro, and then Gonzalez, Palmer, Petrale, Strange, Davis, and Diaz. 1-0. Texas has the lead. Gary Reedus doubled to start this game. Julio Franco then sacrificed him over to third. Rafael Palmeiro grounded out, and then Juan Gonzalez drove home his 80th run of the year. A single back up the middle, and Reedus scored, making it Texas 1 and Oakland nothing. And here is Doug Strange. Well, Jerry Royce, good to have you with us tonight, and I will finally ask you your opinion of what has been going on, because as soon as Rickey Henderson's name dropped out of that starting lineup, well, the word was abuzz in the press box that Henderson probably was being bantered about, and perhaps they even took him out of the lineup so he could help make that decision. Strange to right field, and Sierra for the second out.
A couple of things come to mind as far as Rickey's concerned. Remember, he's a 5 and 10 man. Either that or he has a no trade contract, and it's ultimately up to him if he wants to join another ball club. And 2, if he does join another ball club, it's probably Rickey that wants to have a contract extended and to sign something new, because if he's traded, then he has the right to demand a trade at the end of the year or become a free agent.
But this is the time, of course, the trading deadline is tomorrow, and a leadoff man of that caliber is really wanted by several ball clubs. And the 2 teams that we have heard most tonight from within the organization are Toronto and Baltimore. Many thought that the New York Yankees would be involved, but New York, not one of those teams. Apparently they want 3 minor leaguers from the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Baltimore Orioles are right in the race as well.
Well, that's the way it stands as you heard it. Maybe as things go on, or maybe as they watch this ball game, maybe the Yankees will want to get themselves involved.
Ricky Henderson could put any team over the top. He has had a very, very special season, hitting over .320, and really the top leadoff man in the history of the game.
Well, remember this: any team that gets him keeps him from away from another ball club.
There's a base hit down the line by Butch Davis. He races around first. He's going for 2. Here is the throw, and it is not in time. Butch Davis with a 2-out double.
And it's surprising that Davis made this attempt for a double. Jerry Brown's a left fielder. Brown has played a number of different positions, but he's mainly an infielder. And it appeared as Davis rounded first base that Brown, with his approach on the ball, had a chance to throw him out. But watch the throw as it goes into second. Good approach by Brown. And the throw in a second, it took a couple of hops before it got there. And Davis, with good speed, was able to slide in under the tag.
Jerry Brown, an infielder, much of his career. They got him. Butch Davis wanted away from second base too much. Bordick sneaks from behind, and they pick him off. We go to the bottom of the second inning here in Oakland, California. Bordick with the pickoff of Butch Davis. 1-0 Texas. Major League's all-time strikeout leader. He had 1 in the first inning to bring his career total 5,690. I mean, he is ahead of Steve Carlton by 1,533. And the first man he will face to start the second inning is Mike Aldretti. And there's that curveball in for strike 1.
This gives you just some idea of what Ryan has done this year. But what's important about him is that he's a veteran ball player, something that every team in contention covets at this time of the season. And this is a very important start for Nolan for a couple of reasons. One, it's his 3rd appearance since coming off the disabled list. And it usually takes a couple of appearances just to see exactly where you are after your rehabilitation period. And it's also important for the Rangers because if Ryan can give them innings and wins, that means they don't have to make a trade. They can leave this club intact going into this pennant race.
And Kevin Kennedy told us as much before the ball game, saying if Nolan is healthy and he can give us 12 quality starts, we really like our chances in the American League West. There's a ground ball to second base, and Doug Strange throws at Mike Aldretti for the first out of the second inning. Texas comes in 5 games behind the Chicago White Sox. Here's a look at the A's lineup. Lance Blankenship leads things up. He's followed by Jerry Brown, Ruben Sierra, Troy Neal, Mike Aldretti, Craig Paquette, another rookie in that A's lineup, Brent Gates, another rookie, Mike Bordick, and Scott Heeman in for Terry Steinbach. One out, nobody on. Texas leading 1-0. Ryan throws that breaking ball. He throws the fastball that has been clocked at 94, 95, even 96 miles an hour this year. He has the great overhand curve and a good circle changeup. The 1-0. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You mentioned that they've already clocked him tonight at 92. I think the important thing as far as the velocity is concerned is how long he can maintain that velocity rather than seeing something like 96 and to have him drop backward. Look at this delivery by Nolan Ryan, a fastball. Of course, we've got it slowed down. It looks a lot easier to hit, but for Craig Paquette, that's a better than 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ryan with the 1-1 pitch. Just misses away. Nolan, of course, 46 years old. He'll turn 47 on January 31st. Born in Refugio, Texas, raised and still lives in Alvin, Texas. Came inside to Paquette. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, and that last fastball clocked at 93 miles an hour. And you were saying if they can still clock him at 92, 93, like 6th, 7th inning, well, my goodness, that's what Nolan Ryan wants to see.
Exactly. He's been off 72 days due to that hip injury. And the important thing for him to remember is to maintain that velocity, maintain that quality of pitches, both in location and in movement. You see that the last 2 fastballs that he's thrown, one had some movement toward the outside. The last one that Poquette fouled off had movement in toward Poquette's hands.
That's high, and the count is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And he wants that separation from the change and the curveball speed.
The differential, the speed differential. I think he'll probably want to drop off anywhere 5 to 8 miles per hour on the changeup off that fastball, putting it in the mid-80s. An enviable fastball for a mere mortal.
A mere mortal. 321 career wins. Way up and in, and Paquette is on. That is the 2nd walk issued by Nolan Ryan in the game. And you talk about all the strikeouts he has had. Well, he also has 2,771 career walks, most in Major League Baseball history.
Second base.
That ball is coming at you at 90+ miles per hour. It has to be a scary sight, but your major league hitter, you forget that it's Nolan Ryan who's pitching, and you're looking at the baseball, trying to do your job. Ryan has been high out of the strike zone so far early in this ball game. Let's see if he can make the adjustment.
Here's the other rookie, Brent Gates, facing Ryan for the first time in his career. Remember that quote from Oscar Gamble back in the 70s when Ryan was throwing 100 miles an hour. He said, a good night against Ryan is to go 0 for 4 and don't get hit in the head. One out, one on. And the 1-0 to Gates. 2 balls, no strikes.
And again, Nolan Ryan is up in the out of the strike zone. A couple of his pitches have been way out of the strike zone. Now he's missing just above the belt. They're not giving him that high strike tonight. Home plate umpire is Mike Riley. And so far, it's a closed strike zone.
Calls that one strike 1 at 2 balls and a strike. Again.
The difference in a location, rather than up, he goes toward the corner. And Petrali finishes that pitch off nicely, doesn't he?
Frames it.
Frames it well.
Pickoff play on at first base. Paquette with 2 steals this year. He's not been caught. He's one of the promising rookies that is a big part of this Oakland future. Troy Neal fell at the plate. Brent Gates another. Misses away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And of course, the real strength of the team, Steinbach, McGuire, and Sierra, those are the guys they really must have to bring the youngsters along with them. Mark McGuire, well, he has been gone so long, like 75 straight games, and Tony La Russa without the big first baseman. It was so great for them early. They took the power out of the lineup. There's a 3-1, and Gates swings and fouls it off left field side. The count's full, 3-2.
Defensively behind Nolan Ryan, Gonzalez, Reedus, and Davis in the outfield. Broken bone in his cheek. As a result, Russell will also be one of John Russell has been activated today.
Throw to second base with Paquette going, and he is safe. That's his 3rd stolen base this year. Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, Steve. Budweiser takes us to Colorado. Barry Bonds had homered earlier in the game off Greg Harris, and here he goes again. A 2-run shot, his 31st home run of the season, 3rd multi-home run game this year. 82 runs batted in, 71,000 seeing this. The Giants lead in the 7th.
71,000 fans to watch that game with the first place San Francisco Giants trying to put a little space between themselves and the Atlanta Braves in the National League West. Well, after Gates strikes out, Mike Bordick is now the hitter. 268 the average, 2 home runs, 29 RBIs. He has been the hottest Oakland A of late, hitting .419 in his last 10 games to push his average over 268. And he sends one to right field. Backing up, Butch Davis makes the catch. That will do it. for Oakland in the second. We head to the third with Texas and Nolan Ryan leading the A's 1-0 at the Oakland Coliseum in the East Bay of Northern California. The Texas Rangers with Nolan Ryan on the mound lead the Oakland A's. Ron Darling goes for Oakland tonight. 33-year-old right-hander from Honolulu, Hawaii, went to Yale, and he will face Mario Diaz to start this third inning. Diaz, then back to the top of the order, and Gary Ritas and Julio Franco. Diaz has played very well. I mean, the shortstop they acquired in the offseason, Manny Lee, was supposed to do much of the work this year, but he's been twice on the disabled list, and Diaz recalled on June 5th from Oklahoma City, and in his last 23 games he has hit .360. So Kevin Kennedy says, I'm going with my hot shortstop. Diaz hitting .330 with 7 extra base hits. Everybody else, Jerry, .167 the average, and that has always been a position of doubt in the Texas organization.
Not a lot of guesswork that Kevin Kennedy has to do about that, does he? The numbers really tell this story.
Ground ball. Bordick got it on a bad hop and throws in the dirt, but already digs it out. 1 out.
Defensively for Oakland tonight, Jerry Brown in left field, replacing Ricky Henderson, who came out of the lineup about an hour before the game. Blankenship and Sierra round off the outfield. Paquette, Bordick, Gates, and Aldretti around the infield, and Scotty Heeman catching Ron Darling tonight.
Darling has allowed 3 hits in the game, and the most damaging to the man he faces now, Gary Ritas, who led off with a double, booming double to right center field. And he takes a good curveball for strike 1. Here is Mark McGwire. He has been out a long time for the Oakland A's, and he has been sorely missed. Missed the last 68 games with that left heel problem. At first they thought it was simply a bruise, but now they feel there is a tear in that tendon around the heel, and there is a very strong possibility that McGwire might not be back this year. The Bash brothers both gone. Canseco out for the year as a pitcher, tearing up his elbow, and McGwire out with the heel. Where's the beat? Ritas with a little chopper. He might get lucky. Darling kind of looked at first base, tried to hold onto the baseball, and threw it about 20 feet.
That's when your mind tells you not to throw it and your arm doesn't get the message right away. He fired that ball straight in the ground. Ritas still has pretty good speed, and it was a long way for Darling to run. Darling, considered one of the best fielding pitchers in the game, realizes that he can't make the throw. The ball slips out of his hands, and Ritas has the second base hit of the evening. Does Ritas smell hit? He's running like he's sore a little bit. Has his head down, and he turns it on just a little bit toward the end.
So that's a second base hit for Gary Ritas. And here is Julio Franco, and he takes strike 1.
Ritas has had some problems with his knees, and it appeared that when he was running down to first base that his knees are still bothering him.
And Kevin Kennedy said that's why he didn't start in the last 2 games, because of soreness in both knees, and he felt he was ready to go tonight, but he'll always have to watch him after back-to-back games. Ritas doesn't go, and there's a breaking ball hit on the ground. Brent Gates, he's got the force on to first. Aldretti digs it nicely. Double play to end the top of the 3rd inning. It is 1-0 Texas. .7 batting average after 32-30. Well, he has thrown 33 pitches, Jerry.
When we talked about that 3rd start after coming off the disabled list, thank you very much for that sign. You have to see exactly where you are. He spent 72 days on the list. There are some things that you can do to stimulate yourself and to simulate a game. And throw a number of pitches that you can, but there's something about the added element of competition, and you push your body to that extreme.
Well, it seems like the curveball is finding the strike zone of late. Talking the last 2 innings, he has walked 2 in the game, and Scott Heeman takes the 0-1, and that misses inside low, and it's a ball to strike.
First 2 innings he was wild high with his fastball. using primarily fastballs, used a couple of curveballs. He's had good break on them. They've been sharp. Though he's getting it over a bit more now. He didn't do so well earlier in this game.
Busts a fastball. Heeman down the line, and that's a base hit. Butch Davis to second base. The first base hit off Ryan in this game, and it's the leadoff man, Scott Heeman, in the third inning.
Now, if you're a number 9 hitter and you're thinking, what would Ryan throw in this situation? You've just seen 2 curveballs. You've got to guess fastball. Heeman does guess fastball, slaps it in the right field, barely fair. Davis makes a nice play coming over to cut that ball off.
So Heeman on. And Ryan with a look in at Gino Petralli's sign as the batter is Lance Blankenship. A walk, stole a base, left stranded at third in the first. He takes it inside, ball 1. Ryan has some great memories here at the Oakland Coliseum. On June 11th, 1990, he no-hit these Oakland A's, pitching the 6th no-hitter of his career, becoming the only man to accomplish the no-hit feat in each of 3 different decades. And then 1 year later, he got number 7 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Blankenship with a line drive to Diaz, and they will double up Scott Heeman. So 2 outs here in the third.
Tony La Russa knows that he doesn't have a whole lot of pop in his lineup, so he's going to try to generate some offense, and he sends Heeman. And on the hit and run, Blankenship hits the ball hard, but right at Diaz. And that leaves Heeman out to dry. The only thing that he can do is hope for a poor throw.
So Tony La Russa will send to the plate now Jerry Brown. Of course, scores at 15 and 45 past the hour. Bonds hitting 2 home runs. He has 31 now, the most in the major leagues. And you've got a chance to see a guy tie him tonight, but with the name of Juan Gonzalez, who has 30 home runs for the Texas Rangers. There they are, the American League champions, the Western champions 4 times under the management of Tony La Russa. San Diego has beaten Cincinnati 11-9. Tony Gwynn with a key hit in that game. And of course, to start this show, we told you about all of the trade rumors that have been circulating around the Coliseum, and the name most often mentioned, Rickey Henderson. He was in the lineup, penciled in the lineup until 1 hour before the game, and then taken out. We talked to Sandy Alderson. He simply said it was Tony La Russa's decision, and then the word came to the press box that Rickey had a sore neck. There's a strike. The 2 teams most often mentioned in this press box were Toronto and Baltimore, wanting the services of a talented leadoff man and left fielder.
Yeah, but wait till those phone lines get heated up now that the other general managers know that we've identified Toronto and Baltimore. Rickey's up for auction. Let's see what we can offer. Maybe he'll make the difference for us. Remember, if a team does obtain Henderson, it weakens everybody else by that same degree.
And the Oakland A's now out of it really in the American League West can make some moves to better their program for the future. Jerry Brown is the 3rd walk issued by Ryan in this game. Rickey has not had a stiff neck of late. I mean, he's coming off a road trip where the A's stumbled at 4-11, but he had 426 on that road trip with 5 home runs. This is all since the All-Star break. Slugging percentage of .796. And the kind of money he is demanding. There's some clubs that certainly, when you get a chance, I would imagine, Jerry, to win it all, you'd have to take that gamble.
I suppose it depends on the composition of your ball club. Just who you have in the minor leagues. I know Baltimore has the young kid Hammond on their club, but is he a left fielder or center fielder? Just exactly how does he fit into their future?
I think Jeffrey Hammonds can probably play just about all 3 outfield positions. He is so gifted. But you've got Devereaux and Brady Anderson, and the one lacking thing that they have had all year long was a leadoff guy. Brady Anderson gave him great leadoff last year. But with Ricky Henderson in there, I think it makes them that much better of a ball.
Sure, an added dimension, but who do you take out of that lineup? Who do you substitute Henderson for? Same thing with Toronto.
Or you could even DH him.
Yeah.
Last fastball thrown by Nolan Ryan, clocked at 94 miles an hour, but it misses the zone, and the count goes 3 balls, no strikes to Ruben Sierra with 2 outs and a man on first base here in the 3rd inning. Texas and Ryan enjoying a 1-0 lead.
Good fastball that time, clipped the outside corner. Like a lot of pitchers, when things are going slow and you're not able to get your pitches over, you'll notice that the tempo of the game will slow down. Pitchers take just a little bit more time to think about what they're doing, and they also have a habit of what pitching coaches say is throwing darts.
Sierra reached for that one, grounds out. We are through 3 here in Oakland, and Ryan shutting out the Oakland A's 1-0. Gonzalez is coming up. We go to the top of the 4th inning, and we've got NFL football coming your way on ESPN. It's the Philadelphia Eagles with Randall Cunningham at quarterback against the New Orleans Saints. That's live from Tokyo, Japan. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 here on the West Coast, again on ESPN. And on the mound, Ron Darling will face Rafael Palmeiro, Juan Gonzalez, and Dean Palmer. Plenty of power in that Texas middle. Starts him out with a breaking ball that misses badly. 1 ball, no strikes. Palmeiro has been on a tremendous tear of late. 4 home runs in his last 6 ball games. Has 10 home runs in the month of July. That is a Ranger record.
How much has he been hitting since he's been put back into the number 3 slot? Well, look what he's done just in July. 416, 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. In talking to Kevin Kennedy about it, he said much of it has to do with the fact that Palmeiro is a lot more selective now, looking for a particular pitch in a particular zone. And it doesn't hurt to have a guy like Juan Gonzalez, who's having a great season, hitting behind you.
Well, it seemed like the entire month of April and May were his spring training. You remember he had the tonsillectomy in spring training. He had the ingrown toenails. Then he had the food poisoning. So he finally played his first baseball game, not in spring, but in the month of April, and he hit under 200 that month. Since that time, he's been like John Olroot. There is a ground out to the second baseman, Brent Gates, and 1 out. Well, here is Juan Gonzalez. He knocked in the only run of this ball game. Came back in the 1st inning with Gary Reedus at 3rd base. He took one up the middle. His 80th RBI. And that is good enough for 5th in the American League.
But just prior to that swing, he had a couple of balls that had home run distance, but the curled foul just as they approached the fence. That time Gonzalez got a forkball down in the strike zone. Darling took just enough off that Gonzalez could not get the good part of the bat on the ball.
Good change there by Ron Darling. Strike 1.
That had a nice finish to it, didn't it? Look at this pitch. Now, this is the first time I've seen Darling tonight throw this kind of a breaking ball.
There's that slow breaker. He comes back and tries to jam Gonzalez, but a little bit too far in. Evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now that sends a little message to the hitters on the bench. Now Darling's got another pitch in his arsenal.
Something he has not shown until this 4th inning. Ground ball. Bordick backhands. Long throw just in time. 2 outs.
One pitch sets up another. After a breaking ball on the inside, he throws one on the outside part of the plate. Gonzalez hits it pretty good, but Bordick, playing him perfectly, knows just how much time he has and sends this throw across the diamond. Andretti is there to catch it.
And the batter is Dean Palmer. He has been in the throes of a miserable slump, just 3 hits in his last 31 at bats, and that has seen the average go from 255 down to 238 right here. Lowest he's just seen it since that month of June. Rangers with 4 hits, the Athletics with 1. Darling last year with 15 wins, 10 losses, 3.66 earned run average. Really pitched well, so they signed him to a 3-year contract in the offseason. But it has been a struggle for him this year. He is just 2-4 with a 6 earned run average. And there are many will tell you that the strike zone is different from last year. There's a livelier baseball, and if both those situations are true, well, the kind of pitcher it's going to affect the most is a Ron Darling.
I've heard that from people in the American League, and I've heard it from people in the National League.
It would seem to me, Jerry, that if a pitcher like Ron Darling is not getting the low strike, he has to come up in the strike zone, and at his speed, he's going to get busted around.
Well, he throws about the average major league velocity, right around 85 miles per hour. And that's usually right where most everybody's bat speed can handle it.
Well, he got down in the strike zone that time. Strikes out Dean Palmer. It is 1-0 Texas as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
First race of the second half of the dot racing.
Catcher for at least the next week. The starting catcher Ivan Rodriguez yesterday against the Kansas City Royals. Watch Hubie Brooks bat. On the backswing, it hits him in the left cheek, and Rodriguez broke his cheek. He had surgery today to repair a depressed fracture in that left cheekbone. So Petrale out of the game, or in there for Rodriguez, but Rodriguez is a tough guy. He was coming to the ballpark today, and on the way in he said, I think I can come back by Monday when we play the Chicago White Sox. That's important because the White Sox are in first place, but that's only a few days away. He's talking Monday. Kevin Kennedy is talking more like 5-6 days, but any way you look at it, that's a tough guy. Nolan Ryan here will face Troy Neal to start the bottom of the 4th inning.
The original thought about Rodriguez is that it might be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, as many as 6 weeks before he'd be back into action. Well, when you get somebody and you fear he's going to be gone like that, and you can bring him back within a week, what a benefit that has to be for your ball club.
If he comes back, he should be wearing a motorcycle helmet. Nolan Ryan working with Petrale. The count is 2 balls and no strikes to Troy Neal. And I'm not sure if Ryan likes the strike zone that Mike Riley has shown him tonight. Neal swings and fouls it off. It was delightful talking to Troy Neal, who's a rookie, facing Nolan Ryan for the first time ever. And Troy Neal, who grew up in Freeport, Texas, just 30 miles from Ryan's hometown in Alvin, Texas. He said, you better believe everybody in that low state of Texas drew him with this man as their hero. I know my knees are going to be shaking when I go to the plate. He swings and misses, and the count is 2-2.
And the people in the middle won't know who to cheer for, will they? Whether it's going to be Nolan or the young man Troy Neal. This is a home plate view of what Nolan Ryan's fastball looks like. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball down in the strike zone. We haven't seen a whole lot of those from Ryan.
Well, he strikes him out, and that is now the 3rd strikeout for Ryan in the game. Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, Steve, Budweiser, Texas to Toronto, 9th inning. Tigers with a 7-5 lead. Kirk Gibson makes it 8-5. His 10th homer. He had 3 hits in the game. Oler did go 2 for 4, batting .401, but the Jays lose and the Yankees win, so that creates a tie for first in the AL East. Boston is a half game behind. Let's get back out west with Jerry and Steve.
And both Baltimore and Toronto, they are 2 of the teams that we have heard mentioned that are pursuing that man, Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson, we told you, his name was penciled into the starting lineup, but 1 hour prior to the game, he was taken out. We talked with Sandy Alderson right after he was taken out, and he said it was simply Tony La Russa's decision. And then the report up to the press box was that Rickey had a stiff neck. And he's saying his hellos to his fans. And there are many upstairs, writers, broadcasters alike, thinking that perhaps Rickey, a deal has been made, and that Ricky obviously has to approve it, so perhaps he is thinking about it with his family and agent, etc. But he's still an all-star here at the Oakland Coliseum. He has helped lead this team to a world championship, an American League pennants. And Nolan Ryan throwing a strike to Michael Andretti, and the count is 3-1.
Hey, Tony La Russa is making the right move, keeping Henderson out of the lineup. That's a big decision that you have to make. You uproot your family. You have to make a call to your agent to see exactly, is this just for the near future, or are we talking about a future that extends into 3 or 4 years? A lot of things go through a player's mind at this juncture in his career.
The batter, third baseman, Greg Paquette.
But Sandy Alderson has said he will be in his office throughout till 9 o'clock tomorrow, which would be midnight Eastern time when the trading deadline will end. Meanwhile, on the field, Nolan Ryan has a one-hitter. A man who 3 years ago threw a no-hitter at the Oakland A's on June 11, 1990. And there's a line smashed down the right field side, but out of play. And in fact, it was 3 years ago tomorrow that Nolan Ryan won his 300th game, beating Milwaukee and Chris Bosio 11-3, and we had that game on ESPN. I remember we were following Ryan around until he got that magic 300. Now he has 321 total wins. That is 12th all time. Don Sutton would be the guy he is chasing right now, and Don had 324. There's a smash to left field. Andretti turns second base, holds there, and the A's have 2 on with 1 out in the 4th inning.
Ryan still trying to find a proper release point for that fastball. Is a bit more consistent, at least this inning, in keeping the ball down.
The batter.
But the problem is he hasn't had the curveball this inning to help that fastball. He's only thrown a changeup or two. Good release point. You can see the finish on this pitch, but unfortunately it's right down the middle, and Paquette drills it to left field.
So 2 on. Andretti second base, Paquette first base, and the batter is Brent Gates, another rookie, and Ryan throws it in the dirt. Ball 1. Brent Gates, 23 years old, from Grand Rapids, Michigan, went to the University of Minnesota. Fine tennis player growing up, and he was the fellow who broke all of Terry Steinbach records as a Golden Gopher at the University of Minnesota. Last guy to hit 400. And La Russa said, it looks like this fellow is going to be our second baseman for years. Very smooth around the bag, excellent offensively, and his potential power really strong, but only a .237 average team with men in scoring position, last in the American League. That will happen when McGuire is out and we're going with younger players. Ground ball. Palmeiro goes to second, 1, and that's all they'll get.
When your team isn't hitting that well, pitchers go out there thinking that they have to pitch, make perfect pitches all the time. So one problem besets another, and pretty soon things snowball. Ryan doing much better by keeping the ball down, gets a fastball down, and the only play that Palmeiro really has is this throw to second base. His angle as far as throwing wasn't that great. Maybe a step or two in, he'd have had a better angle, but it wasn't a hard hit ball, and he had to choose the hop that he wanted to catch the ball and then deliver.
So now Ryan works with 2 outs, runners at the corners. Tying run at third is Mike Andretti. Brent Gates, good speed at first base. Gates not going, and the pitch, a curveball missing. Mike Bordick. Andretti represents the tying run. Gates the go-ahead. And the 1-0 pitch. There's that fastball. Well, he gets a strike, but it seems like that curveball, like you said, has been finding a hard time snapping into the zone.
He's only thrown 2 curveballs for strike that I've counted. He's thrown 1 changeup. Hitters then logically say if it's anything but a fastball, just take it. And then when he throws a fastball, if it's down in your zone, take your rip. He's been inconsistent. 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. In the early innings, the fastball was up, out of the strike zone. He's overcompensated for it this inning, and he's kept his fastball down. But for the most part, it's been out of the strike zone.
Gates goes, and the pitch high. Petralli bluffs the throw to second base because Brent had such a great jump from first base. He had no chance to get the rookie. And he thought he might be able to catch Aldretti napping at third base. So now, with runners in second and third, a base hit can give the A's a lead. And the 2-1 pitch. Fastball hit in the air, right field, long run for Butch Davis, but it's foul. Now the count goes 2 balls and 2 strikes, and they are sitting dead red.
It'll be interesting to see this pitch among the 4 that Ryan throws, which one he'll choose to use. It's got a fastball, curveball, the circle change. He can do a couple of different things with a fastball. He's still got good velocity. We've had him as high as 93 on a pitch, but 92 is where he's consistently been throwing the ball.
And it has always been, well, the fastball is going to kill you, but if he gets the breaking ball over, see ya. Game's over. Here's the 2-2, and Bordick reaches out, punches it to left field. That's a base hit. Here comes Aldretti to tie, and they will hold Gates at third base. So a 1-1 ball game with Texas and Oakland here in the 4th inning.
Credit Bordick with a good job of hitting. After Ryan got the count to 2-2, he chose to go with a breaking pitch. And Bordick, with 2 strikes, shortened his swing just a bit. He waits nice on his curveball as it's on the outside part of the plate. A pretty good pitch. But it's hit right at Gonzalez. 1 run will come in, and a good strong throw by Gonzalez prevents the lead run from coming across.
And the batter will be Scott Heeman, who singled to right field his first time up. Gates at third, Bordick first.
It'll be interesting to see what La Russa wants to do now. Runners at first and third, 2 out. The number 9 hitter at the plate. They've already stole 2 bases tonight, and Petralli on the season has thrown out just 3 of 32 attempted base stealers. La Russa, knowing that he has to manufacture runs, has to give consideration to have a runner in motion.
The A's 2-0 on Petralli in this game.
Well, Ryan apparently upset with himself for letting Bordick get a base hit on that breaking pitch. Has missed with his first 2 deliveries. The number 9 hitter, Scotty Heeman. That tells you the sad story. Just as many balls as he has strikes. He's struggled so far this evening.
It's low. 2 balls, no strikes, and boy, Texas really needs Nolan Ryan. Kevin Brown, who is their ace when Ryan is sidelined, has been suffering coming out and shutting the door when Texas has gone on a losing streak. They have gotten better pitching performance from their 4 or 5 guys. Roger Pavlik and Kenny Rogers. Swing and a miss by Scott Heeman. The count goes 2-1.
Now, we talked about that before the ball game. The fact that Brown hasn't stepped forward as the number 1 guy. Part of it might be out of respect for Ryan. As long as Nolan is around, he is everybody's number 1. He's the number 1 man on this staff. It'll be interesting to see exactly how Brown performs when Ryan's gone next year, if he'll step into that number 1 spot.
Well, the way Chicago is playing, and they won again today over the Seattle Mariners, I mean, they have to have both Ryan and Brown be dominating in the last 2 months of the season.
Ryan and Brown, they have a pretty good bullpen, and they have to remain healthy.
Their hitting has been strong over the last 30 games. They have the 3rd best record in the major leagues the last month of the season. 20 wins, only 10 losses. And they're tied with Oakland tonight, 1-1. Ryan with the 3-1 to Scott Heeman. He swings and misses, counts full. But now at 3-2 with 2 outs, runners will be going. Gates from third base. Bordick from first base. Gates will stay put. Heeman to right field. Butch Davis has to come over towards the line, makes the catch. That does it in the 4th inning. But the A's come back to tie this game in the 4th inning on Nolan Ryan. 1-1 our score as we go to the 5th. They said the Oakland Coliseum, 1-1 our score with the Texas Rangers and Oakland Athletics. Kevin Kennedy, he started the night just 5 games behind the Chicago White Sox for first place in the American League West. White Sox winning tonight, though, over the Seattle Mariners. 6-4 that final score in 10 innings. And Ron Darling will start this 5th inning with Gino Petralli, Doug Strange, and Butch Davis. And there's strike 1. Petralli hitting .278. He has always been an excellent offensive catcher, but the defense has been somewhat suspect. With Rodriguez, he is a very able backup catcher. Rodriguez, we told you, he is out for at least 5-6 games. They did not disable him because Ivan said he will be back sooner than they expect. Petralli grounds out to Aldrete and 1 gone. Andre Dawson with the home run. Detroit over Toronto. Kansas City beating Cleveland, and that keeps KC within 3 games of first place Chicago. Manwaring hit a home run. Bonds has hit 2 for San Francisco, and Atlanta leading Houston 4-1. So if the Giants win, Atlanta wins. The lead for San Francisco will still be 7.5 in that National League West. Boy, that almost scooped over the head of Brent Gates, but he recovers to throw out Doug Strange.
And that was one of the few pitches that Ron Darling has gotten up in the strike zone. A changeup, it sat there. Strange jumped all over it, hit it hard, but right at the second baseman. And this pitch illustrates why Ron Darling has to keep the ball down in the strike zone. That ball comes up there fat, doesn't it? Looks very easy to hit.
Fastball on the outside corner. Really a contrast in styles. Ryan is gas and a great curveball. Darling is cunning and savvy and just trying to keep the hitter off balance.
You got a hard throwing veteran against a crafty veteran, don't you? Darling maybe tops out 84, 85 at best, but he has a variety of pitches and a variety of angles that he'll throw at just about any time. And when he keeps the ball down and stays ahead of the hitter, he can be successful.
Ricky Henderson, he might join us running our camera tonight. Again, he was penciled into the starting lineup, then removed 1 hour before the ball game. The speculation is that he is discussing a deal. Well, Ron Darling strikes out Butch Davis. 1-2-3 inning for Darling. That's 2 straight for him.
Wake up to CNN Morning News.
A little bit better velocity. His finish on the pitches, I think, is what's making the difference. My question is, what did he do between innings that turned him around? Was it something that the catcher Petralli told him, or was it something that pitching coach Claude Austin told him?
A 3-2 to Sierra. He walks him. That is now 5 walks in the game for Ryan. He holds the major league record for a season with 204. Did that back in 1977. But he also has the most strikeouts in a year, 383 in 1973. That was 20 years ago. And here is Troy Neal. There's strike one. Well, he takes a little something off that. And there's his line. 5 walks, 4 strikeouts.
The important part about that line is the fact that he's only given up 1 run.
Neal swings and misses. Strike 2.
Of the 4 pitches that Ryan has, that's the circle change. We told you earlier that the fastball was 94. That was just 82 miles an hour, a differential of 12 miles per hour. Yet it has the illusion of a fastball.
Well, let's see if he busts a fastball after the changeups. He wants to work away. Fastball missing. Throw to second base as the runner was going. Safe is Sierra. That's the 3rd stolen base off Petrale and off Nolan Ryan.
And it comes as no surprise with 2 men out and 2 strikes in the hitter. Why not send a runner, Sierra? Because if he's thrown out, that means that Neal, one of the hotter hitters on this Oakland ball club, can lead off next inning with a clean slate. You see Petrale's throw off just a little bit toward the first base side, and Sierra with that headfirst slide just beats it.
Now the 1-2. Breaking ball hit high in the air. Center field. Gary Reedus makes the catch. Inning is over. We remain tied at 1 with Nolan Ryan and Texas and the Oakland A's.
Struck out 10 batters on one team. The A's and the Twins 19 times it happened. Ricky Henderson was his 5,000th strikeout victim. Let's go back to Oakland. Steve and Jerry.
He has been absolutely sensational. He has a 1-1 ball game with the Oakland A's in the top of the 6th inning, and even the opposing manager Tony La Russa was nothing but praise about Nolan Ryan. He said he hoped the fans, and he knew it would be near a sellout tonight. He said he hoped the fans would give Ryan 100% respect and appreciation. And the home team, he said, I hope we win by 1 run, and I hope we beat them 1-0 with an unearned run. He said he has watched Ryan for years and has respected him, thinks he is a true professional. And now it's Texas' turn to try and break this 1-1 deadlock here in the 6th inning. Mario Diaz, Gary Reedus, and Julio Franco. Very quietly, this man is matching up with Nolan Ryan. Ryan was allowed 3 hits. Darling just 4. But all 4 of those hits in the first 3 innings, he has set down the last 7 that he has faced. Here's a ground ball foul.
But the big difference is that Ryan has delivered 87 pitches. Darling, coming into this inning, has just thrown 50. Check that, 54 now. Updated total.
33 strikes, and Ryan was at 50% with the strikes. The pitch is out of the zone. Darling 2-2, and Diaz with a swing and a miss, and there's strikeout number 3 for Ron Darling. Let's go to Chris.
All right, Steve. Budweiser to Baltimore, 9th inning. Red Sox leading by a run. Jeff Russell against David Segui, and gets him 27th save. Andre Dawson drove in 5. The Red Sox just a half game behind the lead in the AL East, held by the Yanks and Jays. Back to Oakland.
How about that? What a race that is in the American League East. In Baltimore, now 5 games off the pace, or 4 games off the pace. 4 games separating 1 through 4 in the American League East, and here in the West it is almost as tight, with Texas 5 games out. Started the night from the Chicago White Sox, who won today 6-4 over the Seattle Mariners. Kansas City already with a victory 3-0 over Cleveland. There's a curveball to Gary Reedus, and it misses. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, just imagine the added dimension that you would have with those standings in the American League East if the wild card team for an added playoff would be chosen from that group, wouldn't it? It's not enough to win it, but also the second place team, there's something to fight for then. So you're not so concerned with how many games you are behind number 1, but also how many games you are behind number 2.
Yeah, how about, let's take a look at this. National League West is even more unusual. Let's say San Francisco wins by 10 games over Atlanta. You don't think that Braves pitching staff would be awfully difficult to face if they finish 2nd place? Next year was this year?
Assuming, of course, that's the playoff
format
template format they're using, sure.
The count 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gary Reedus. One-runner score. Top of the 6th inning. Oakland, California. The Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's. And you can see both these teams again this Sunday. Gonzalez trying to bust another home run. Ruben Sierra, his former teammate. It's the Rangers and Athletics. 8 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. Chicago winning today over Seattle, has a 5-game lead on the Rangers. Kansas City beating Cleveland, 3 behind the White Sox, and Seattle 6 back. And Gary Reedus taking outside 3 balls 2 strikes. Reedus 2 for 2 in the ninth to raise his average to 269. Good clutch player. Remember his stretch drive with the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. Outside corner, strike 3. That's 4 strikeouts for Darling, and 3 of the last 4 have been the last 3 Texas Rangers that he has faced.
You mentioned earlier that you felt that Ryan was squeezed by home plate umpire Mike Riley, but this shows you just what will happen with an umpire when you're right around the plate. If you're close and on those corners, you'll get those close pitches. Gary Reedus can't believe that Darling got that fastball in the outside corner.
And here comes Julio Franco. He too has been a slumping Texas Ranger. Now 4 for his last 32, and it's low ball 1. And you really wonder if this guy will ever be able to play the infield again. I mean, a marvelous second baseman, then the knee injuries, and prior to that, a very good shortstop. After leading the American League in 107 points off his batting average, the second biggest drop for a batting champion since 1940. He comes inside. 2 balls, a strike. Into right field. Sierra has to play it on a hop. Holding at first base, Franco, as Ruben comes in strong. So that's the first base hit since the 3rd off Ron Darling. It comes with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
And it occurred after Darling retired 9 in a row. With Darling working the inside and the outside, he eventually came in with a pitch that was up in the strike zone. And Franco just slapped it into right field.
Rangers scored in the 1st inning. A's tied it up in the 4th inning. And here is one of the hottest hitters this month of July, Rafael Palmeiro. 10 home runs alone in this month. And there was a time, remember, he was in the trading block when Jose Canseco was healthy. Early stages of June, they thought, we need a starting pitcher. We can live without one of our sluggers, either Canseco or Palmeiro. And at that time, they were trying to deal Rafael for a starting pitcher. Instead, Canseco goes on the disabled list. Palmeiro catches fire. And I'm thinking he is the only left-handed power bat they have in the lineup. They need to sign him for next year. He's a marvelous player. And there's a ground ball that Brent Gates flags, throws out Rafael. That will do it for Texas in the 6th. We remain tied at 1. Texas and Oakland. Ryan coming back to the mound.
Ryan, we've been talking about his 4 pitches that he has. This is the grip that he uses for his 4-seam fastball. This is the 2-seam fastball where he just grips it on top of the ball. This is his curveball with the middle finger supplying most of the spin. And this is his circle change. Notice how he grasps the ball and cradles it between his thumb and his little finger. You can discount the fact that the ball was straight because we're certain that he doesn't have to cheat.
Never. Not Nolan Ryan. King of the Hill. He has worked 5 innings. He has walked 5. He has struck out 4, but allowed just 3 hits in the 1 run. That came around to score a Mike Bordick single with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Mike Aldretti will lead things off. Will be followed by Craig Paquette and Brent Gates. Aldretti started this year with the Cleveland organization, released, claimed by Oakland, hit .320 with Tacoma. He's bounced around, good defensive first baseman from the Bay Area. Went to school in Monterey and went to college at Stanford. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Take a look at this pitch. It's a changeup. Now notice the arm speed on Nolan Ryan. You can't tell the difference between this and a fastball. Aldretti couldn't pick it up until late, and all he could do is, at best, foul that pitch off.
There is strikeout number 5 for Nolan Ryan in the game.
Now Ryan has been up in the strike zone all evening, but it's okay on this particular pitch, and here's the reason why. He used the changeup to set him up, and then Aldretti couldn't catch up with that good fastball up in the strike zone.
And even though they're A's fans, they're Nolan Ryan fans, and that is 5 strikeouts he has in this game. That now gives him 5,694 in his sensational career. It's a ground ball down the line. Backhanded Palmer. Long throw high, but Palmeiro gets there in time. What a play.
Dean Palmer is noted more for his great offense and not his defense, but what a play he makes here. This is a double if it gets past him. Palmer with his backhand takes a step or two to set himself, and then the long throw across to Palmeiro at first. Palmeiro had to go up to get it, but came down before Paquette could beat the ball out.
So Dean and Raphael helping out Nolan Ryan. 2 outs now in the 6th inning. No one on. And Brent Gates the batter. He is 0 for his last 7. Really should have a hit in that stretch. As Oakland beat the California Angels yesterday 2-1. He hit a 3-run home run. What should have been a 3-run home run, but Tim Salmon raced back and made a tremendous catch, robbing Gates of a 3-run shot down at the Big A last night. Here is the 0-2 by Ryan. Struck him out. 2 Ks in the inning for Ryan. 6 now in the game, and the Express just keeps rolling along. Texas 1, Oakland 1. Juan Gonzalez will lead things off. Will be followed by Dean Palmer and then Gino Petralli. Gonzalez responsible for the only run Texas has in this game. Back in the 1st inning, his single up the middle scored Gary Reedus, and Ron Darling starts him off with ball 1. He has become a complete hitter. A .330 average to go at the power that he shows. And there is a ground ball base hit back up the middle. So Texas has the go-ahead run on. I mean, you talk about the 2 great young sluggers in the American League. They're both tied for the home run lead. Gonzalez and Ken Griffey Jr. They're both 23. And Jerry, you talk about a guy maybe peaking about Barry Bonds' age at the age of 28, 29. My goodness, what's going to be their top?
We've talked about Griffey before, about the fact that he can redefine play in the outfield. Everybody will then be compared to him. But that's up to Griffey, and that will come as he matures. The same thing with Gonzalez, although you're going to see a lot more home runs from Gonzalez. It's going to be more of a traditional power hitter, maybe along the lines, or at least it has the potential to go along the lines of someone like Mickey Mantle.
And he has cut down on his swing, and they're trying to get Dean Palmer to do that as well. I mean, there was a time where Gonzalez would strike out 150 times per year, but Monday was an example. 4 hits, shortened up, went to right field on a couple of them, and with 2 strikes, you say, hey, he was really showing a great deal of maturity at a very young age. And now it's Dean Palmer's turn. There's some more scores from around baseball. Road 2 for 4. He's hitting .401 again. Detroit takes Toronto. And the Blue Jays now tied with New York for first place in the American League East. Atlanta wins. San Francisco a winner tonight. 10-4 that final score over Colorado. So the Giants remain 7.5 game leaders in the National League West. And Philadelphia losing to Pittsburgh 4-2. St. Louis a winner over New York, so the Phillies lead in the National League East is down to 6 games. Here it's a 1-1 ball game, top of the 7th inning. Ron Darling working with Dean Palmer, and it is 2 balls and no strikes. Liner to Shields after that 21 game hit streak. He's back on beam again. 3 hits and 5 at bats in Montreal, blasting Florida. Gonzalez has stolen 3 bases this year. Doesn't go, and the pitch is in there. 2-1.
Some movement now in the A's bullpen, because it's been a while since Ron Darling has gone better than 6 innings. The last time that he got into the 7th was back on June 16th against the White Sox. Edwin Nunez gets up for Tony La Russa's Oakland A's.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And if you have just joined us, there are rumors floating around the Oakland Coliseum about Rickey Henderson. Sandy Alderson did tell us that several teams have called him about acquiring Rickey Henderson, and sources have told us that those teams might be Baltimore and Toronto. Teams fighting it out in the American League East. But Henderson, of course, has a no-trade clause in his contract, and he might be mulling that one over. Here is the 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Palmer strikes out for the 100th time this year. We've got a Hall of Fame weekend coming your way. In the NFL, Bill Walsh, the coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and now Stanford. Chuck Noll, Walter Payton, Dan Fouch, and Larry Little will go in Saturday at 8:30. We'll tell you all about it. Major League Baseball, the inductions with Reggie Jackson, who had 563 career home runs. That's Sunday at 6, 3 o'clock West Coast time, right here on the Total Sports Network. Is Rickey a future Hall of Famer? Gotta say yes. Almost 1,100 stolen bases, the most of all time. And there were many. We'll, talk about the great leadoff hitters of all time, guys like Lazary and Willie Wilson, and Lou Brock, and Pete Rose, and Ty Cobb, and Tom DiMaggio, and Richie Ashburn. But we feel that Rickey Henderson deserves to be right at the top. And he certainly could help someone in the final 2 months of this season. This is the final year of Rickey Henderson's contract, and there are many who will tell you that he has it in the salary drive. Tony La Russa and his ball club may not be able to afford what Rickey Henderson will demand in the offseason.
Well, a question that you have to ask yourself, if Henderson fits in our plans, we sign him now and we keep him around for a couple of years. First question you have to ask, what's it going to cost us? And how long will it be before we can contend again? It doesn't seem as if the A's have everything together to compete next year. So why not allow Rickey to move on, get a couple of prospects, and solidify your future in a different direction without Henderson?
Henderson, his name was penciled in the starting lineup prior to tonight's game, but 1 hour before the start he was taken out. Sandy Alderson said it was Tony La Russa's choice. We were later told that it was a stiff neck. Gonzalez here in the 7th inning at first base. He's seen to lead things off. Palmer struck out. And the count to Gino Petralli is ball 1. Good pitch by Darling. Foul off. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is an important road trip for the Texas Rangers. This is game number 102 for them after tonight's 60 to go and 5 games to make up on the first place Chicago White Sox. Fastball high. talk the Ranger needs, and of course it starts with pitching. They only have one starter with an earned run average under 4, and that's Kevin Brown, and he is at .385 in their so-called ace with a 7-7 record. Injuries have hurt them, particularly of late at infield. Billy Ripken, Jeff Hewson, Jeff Fry, all hurt. Outfielders Jose Canseco and David Hulse are on the injured list. But they have survived. They had a 14-3 stretch late June and into July. And that's hit the opposite way, and the count will even 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gino. They were sending Gonzalez on that last pitch. But the Texas offense has really carried this club. Their pitching staff has been beleaguered, but their offense certainly has not. ERA 4.92, but they've been scoring 6.5 runs per game, and that is why they have the 3rd best record in the major leagues since June 26. 20 wins, 10 losses.
And you can't expect your offense to maintain that kind of pace.
Runner goes, throw to second base. Gonzalez is out. Let's go to Chris.
We were talking trade just a moment ago. There was one deal that was completed. The Cubs, Royals, and Yankees pulled off a 3-way trade. The key to it is Paul Ossenmacher, the lefty, going to the Yankees from the Cubs. Kansas City gets John Habian. Details on SportsCenter following the game. Let's go back to Oakland. Steve and Jerry.
Well, the Yankees said they wanted that left-hander in the bullpen. They had to give up a good right-hander in John Habian. Carl Rhodes, who many think is the top base hit in the American Association, goes to the Chicago Cubs. Well, Gino Petrale comes up with a base hit, and if Gonzalez is at second base, the Rangers might have a 2-1 lead.
Heeman gets off a strong throw, and it's a perfect throw. Look at that. When you look on, he might have been safe, but the ball was there in time. Bordick applied the tag, and Gonzalez is called out. Boy, that's a textbook throw to second base, wasn't it?
Well, they really like Heeman's tools. And Terry Steinbach is their catcher for now and the future. Heeman, quality backup and good speed, can play the infield, even can play the outfield. But is there something wrong with Juan Gonzalez? I mean, his left shoulder. They already have Hulse and Canseco on the DL. This is not good news at all for Texas. A home run and RBI leader. That's the last time they tell him he can run. A 1-1 ball game here in the 7th inning. 2 outs. And the pitch to Doug Strange. He takes a high fastball. 2 balls and a strike. Strange tonight 0 for 2. Fly to right. Grounded out to second base.
Well, the bag of ice after the ball game probably take care of those wounds, assuming that it's nothing more serious than just a bruise. You have to question exactly where he injured his shoulder, because this is a slide. Does he hurt it when he throws his arm up, trying to pull himself on that pop-up slide? Maybe, maybe not. We'll just see. We'll keep an eye on him during the course of this inning and see what happens if he remains in the ballgame.
Who knows? He may have slammed his fist into the side of the dugout and hurt his shoulder that way. Crazy injuries this year. Gonzalez sitting down in the dugout. Only run Texas scored was back in the 1st inning. Gary Reedus doubled. Gonzalez then knocked him home, but the A's came back to tie things up in the 4th inning. And the count to Doug Strange, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball third. Nice play, Paquette. Throws out Strange, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. Nolan Ryan will come back to the mound. We are tied at 1 with Oakland and Texas. Oakland A's won. Nolan Ryan back on the hill. He has thrown 95 pitches in this game, only 8 in the 6th inning. And Jerry Royce, you were saying the best he has looked in this game have been the 5th and 6th innings.
Exactly. He looks like he's finally finishing off his pitches. He's had great location with his fastball, and as soon as he's able to put that fastball where he wants, the curveball and his changeup seems to follow.
Juan Gonzalez, after rubbing that left shoulder that he hurt sliding into second base, is back out in left field. He says it's okay. And it's interesting watching Kevin Kennedy not even look at Nolan Ryan, but pass him each time in the dugout as Nolan comes in saying, "You all right?" And each time Nolan says, "I'm fine." Well, here is Mike Bordick to lead things off. Bottom of the 7th inning. He'll be followed by Scott Heeman. Then back to the top of the order and Lance Blankenship. Nolan Ryan throwing ball 1 to Mike.
In Ryan's last start last Sunday on ESPN, he threw 101 pitches and he only went 5 innings. But remember, the temperature was in the upper 90s with that high humidity. It's a little bit different story here this evening because the temperature's in the low 80s and it only helps you stay stronger. Well, maybe Nolan didn't like the way that Bordick was leading out over the plate, so he sends him a little message, back off.
Well, he had Bordick a ball 2 strikes when Mike nailed one to left field, and that scored Mike already back in the 4th inning. And it was a breaking ball after he had jumped in front with those with the fastballs, threw him the curve, and Bordick got it. He gets it again, a base hit left field to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
But the Nolan Ryan for the first 4 innings of this ball game isn't the Nolan Ryan we saw in the 5th and the 6th. That time he got a fastball up in the strike zone, and Bordick, who has a short stroke and a quick stroke, just slaps it in the left field.
He really likes his Texas club chances, but pitching has to lead to the American League West title. Mike Bordick on first base, a tie game with 1 here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Scott Heeman, who's 1 for 2 against Ryan in this game, will step to the plate.
Let's see what Heeman does. Is Tony La Russa going to have him bunt?
Swinging away, ground ball, a hit and run, base hit. Around second, Bordick takes third, nobody out.
I looked at the Texas defense. I saw everybody charging in. I'm anticipating bunt because it's the number 9 hitter. Tony La Russa goes one better. Look at this great jump by Bordick with a shortstop vacating his position. All it takes is a weak ground ball to get into left field. And Bordick with that great jump moves all the way around to third base. Runners on first and third, nobody out, and the top of the lineup. This causes the bullpen to get busy.
Chris Carpenter is the right-hander. Craig Lefferts, the left-hander, warming down the Texas pen. The infield will play double play depth. They want the 2. They'll let the run score. And Ryan throws the curveball. Here's a tough out for him because Lance Blankenship, one of the best on-base percentage guys Oakland has. He has an excellent eye. He walked in the 1st inning, and he has a count his way, 1 ball, no strikes. All 5 hits off Nolan Ryan have been singles. 1 an infield hit, and then also a perfect hit and run base hit by Scott Heeman. Curveball for a strike. They send the man Heeman. He steals second base easily, and every time it has been on the Ryan high leg kick.
It's the 3rd stolen base of the evening for the Oakland A's, and it's done by Scotty Heeman. Got a good jump. The throw is just off to the shortstop side, but with the runner at third base, Petrale knows that he has to also give consideration to him at the runner at third, simply because if he scores, that's a lead run.
And now the infield does come in. Nobody out there playing back looking for the double play. Now they want to play at the plate. So let's see how this works out. It makes Blankenship a better hitter. He calls time. Count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. He's gone over the 100 pitch mark in this game. This is his 7th inning of work. He has struck out 6, but he has walked 5. 2 of those hits have come in this frame to open the inning. And Blankenship has the count his way 2-1. It is low.
With Petrale in there, you have to also ask yourself a question: how adjusted are they to one another? Rodriguez is out. This may be the first time or the 3rd time that Ryan has been back from the disabled list out there in the mound, but this may be the first time that he's pitched to Petrale. He's had 2 wild pitches on the season. Let's see if that becomes a factor.
Blankenship swings and misses. The count is full, 3-2. Gordick at 3rd base. Heeman at 2nd base. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th, and the on-deck hitter is Jerry Brown. And it only gets tougher as Sierra and Neal will follow.
I was a bit surprised to see Blankenship take that kind of a swing. He had a 3-1 count, went after a high fastball, but he took a big swing. Ryan still getting the ball up there at 90+.
The 3-2. It is high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Six walks in the game by Ryan, and out comes Kevin Kennedy. The Rangers need a strikeout, and there's nobody better to give it to him than the man on the hill. It's Lefferts and Carpenter are both ready, and the Texas skipper will talk with his 46-year-old veteran pitcher.
Kennedy, the first question that he probably had for Nolan: what are you going to do? How do you feel? And apparently he's made up his mind after talking to both Nolan Ryan and Gino Petrale.
And it will be Craig Lefferts to take over for Nolan Ryan here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tied at 1, bases full and nobody out. It's the last time number 34 tipped his cap, and they just stood and roared throughout the break for a good 2 minutes, and finally Nolan Ryan took his curtain call, and the crowd roared louder.
And this Oakland crowd, as crowds are throughout all of baseball, appreciate the effort that this man has given to the game of baseball over the last 27 years. People here in Oakland realize that they're seeing for the last time a future Hall of Famer.
And it has to be special for him as he sits on that visitor's bench and looks out onto a field that he knows will be the last time he pitches here at the Oakland Coliseum, and so many great memories that he has had. Well, Dave Henderson now comes on with the bases jammed. Craig Lefferts is the pitcher, and Henderson is pinch hitting for Jerry Brown. Lefferts needs a strikeout. Bases loaded, nobody out. Tied at 1. All 3 on board belong to Nolan Ryan. High. Ball to strike. Texas again looking for the double play. With runners in 2nd and 3rd. First base open. They came on for the play at the plate.
And the defense in a situation like this, if there's a hard hit ground ball to 1st or 3rd or back to the pitcher's mound, they go home first and then deliver the ball back to 1st. If it's hit up the middle, the 2nd base is short, they'll give up the run in order to turn the double play 2nd to 1st.
Dave Henderson with the bases loaded this year 0 for 2, but the entire Oakland team has really struggled this season. Just a 153 average for Tony La Russa, and they are 1 for their last 14 with the bases juiced. The count Lefferts way, 1-2. And Henderson down the line, but foul. Ryan going 6+ tonight.
Even after 800 appearances in a big league ball game, you still feel your heart jump when you've got those runners and they belong to you out there in the bases, and you have to sit on the bench and watch somebody else help you out of a jam.
Anderson again foul. Ryan would have been able to get out of this inning probably unscathed. He had a perfect hit and run as his downfall, and that was executed by Scott Heeman. If they had not had Mario Diaz covering second base, it would have been a 6-4-3 double play, 2 outs, nobody on. Instead, now the base is loaded, nobody out. The 1-2, and Henderson lifts it in the air, shallow right field. Butch Davis hustling on, makes the catch. Runner tags, he will not go. So one huge out. Nolan Ryan taken out of this game by his skipper Kevin Kennedy, who always has to make a tough decision when he comes out to the mound.
So I don't think about Nolan in that regard, because I have a job to do, and number one, it's to try to win a ball game, and number two, we're trying to win a pennant. We are in a pennant race, and he wants to go out a winner.
Kevin Kennedy starting tonight with his Texas Rangers, 5 games back of the first place Chicago White Sox in the American League West. White Sox have won. 6-4 over the Seattle Mariners in Kansas City, shutting out the Cleveland Indians 3-0. So the race tightens up in the American League West, and Craig Lefferts now will work with Ruben Sierra as they turn him around, and he hits from the right side. Sierra 0 for 2 tonight, struck out in the first, grounded out in the third, walked, stole a base in the fifth. A's fans have been waiting for this guy to come around and show the greatness that he displayed in the late 80s, early 90s with his former team, the Texas Rangers. 1-0. Just misses off the corner.
And if there's one guy that the Rangers want to have in the ball game at this time on the mound, it's Craig Lefferts, because coming into this ball game, he's allowed just 2 of 25 inherited runners to score. That's an 8% ranking, the best percentage in the major leagues. He's already got the first batter out that he's faced in Dave Henderson. And now the infield's back at double play depth all the way around, with the exception of Palmeiro, who's even with the bag.
And really everything that lefty throws has some sink to it, so he has a chance at getting the double play here. More so than a Chris Carpenter, who is a high fastball pitcher. Here's a 2-0. It is high though, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. Bases loaded. Nowhere to put Ruben Sierra. Sierra's got to be taken here. The 3-0 misses, ball 4. In comes Mike Bordick, and Oakland takes a 2-1 lead on the Texas Rangers.
It's not surprising that Lefferts walked a man, but what's surprising about it was the pitch that he threw for ball 4. In most cases, you would expect the pitcher to come in with a fastball, not Lefferts. That ball had a bit of a wrinkle on it as approached home plate. Ended up in the dirt. Ball 4, an RBI for Sierra. But even more important, the lead now goes to Oakland 2-1.
And here is Troy Neal. And Jerry, I would imagine if you're a relief pitcher, you're coming on to try and hold a game for the master Nolan Ryan. You're trying a little bit harder.
Maybe so. I would have to think so. But also, there's the other added dimension of this ball game too. You're in a pennant race, and your biggest concern is trying to hold the fort, give your offense a chance to get some runs.
Lefferts comes inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Craig had some terrific seasons with the San Diego Padres and with the San Francisco Giants. Traded at the end of last year from San Diego to Baltimore, and then as a free agent he signed with the Rangers as their starting pitcher. That didn't work out. Now he's in the pen. Heeman is at third base. Blankenship at second base. Sierra at first base. It is 2-1 now Oakland. Swing and a miss, and Neal behind the count 1-2.
In a situation where someone like Troy Neal has seen Craig Lefferts for the first time, you have to give the advantage to the pitcher. And this pitch is an indication as to why. A breaking ball, it's out of the strike zone, but Neal, not knowing exactly what Lefferts' breaking ball does, chases after it only to miss.
Well, he slaps that one into center field. In comes Scott Heeman. Right behind him lands Blankenship, and Oakland has taken a 4-1 lead on Texas and Nolan Ryan. Well, his evening is finally over, and he has given up all 4 runs that Oakland has busted across, 3 here in this inning. And now it's runners in the corners. Still only 1 out, and the hitter is Mike Aldretti.
On a 1-2 count, Lefferts decides to repeat with a breaking ball, but look what happens when he leaves it out over the plate. Neal, just trying to make contact, slaps the ball up the middle, and with good speed on the base, as 2 runs come around to score for the Oakland A's.
Aldretti tonight 0 for 2. He did score a run to tie this game in the 4th inning, and Lefferts throws him ball 1. Started 1-1. Ryan was on the mound in this 7th inning, but he allowed base hits by Bordick, the hit and run single by Heeman, a walk to Blankenship, and on came lefty. Since that time, he has gotten Dave Henderson in a pop-up. He walked Sierra to knock in a run, and then Troy Neal with the 2-run single. In there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And with the lead, Tony La Russa is going to let the left-hander Aldretti in against Craig Lefferts. Part of the reason why is that he's a bit short-handed. He has all those extra relief pitchers down in the bullpen. Tony liking to make those moves based on percentages, goes through relief pitchers.
Game really slowing down here in the 7th inning. Tony La Russa desperate for a victory. They are coming off of their worst road trip of the year. 4 wins, 11 losses. And they lost 6 games in the trip. The All-Star break, they were behind by 6, and now they're 12.5 back. 13 started tonight because of Chicago's victory. And all the talk pregame was the possibility of the trade of their star player Ricky Henderson to a team possibly in the American League East. Ricky Henderson, his name was penciled in to start this ball game, but taken out just an hour prior to the game. Andretti takes high ball 4, and the bases are loaded once again. That is 8 walks in the game by Texas pitchers, 6 by Nolan Ryan, and Kevin Kennedy has to make the long walk out to the mound, and this time it will be Chris Carpenter. Oakland has busted 3 across to take a 4-1 lead. Chris Carpenter on the mound when we come back. A 4-1 Oakland A's. Nolan Ryan, your heart goes out for him. Pitched so well, and in the 7th, the floodgates opened up.
A base hit by Bordick, and then the single by Scott Heeman on the hit and run, and that seemed to turn things around. Then the walk, bases are loaded, and then Craig Lefferts gives up the 3 runs, and well, they find themselves behind 4-1. A couple of disappointed and dejected faces as we look into the Texas Rangers dugout.
Craig Lefferts, who came on to try and bail Ryan out. Bases were still loaded. The score was still tied at 1, and Lefferts got the first out with Dave Henderson in a pop-up to short right field, but then he walked Ruben Sierra to score a run, and Troy kneeled and followed with a base hit up the middle to play 2 more. And now the pitcher is Chris Carpenter. There's a ground ball in the hole. Diaz has a chance for 2-1 on to first. They get the double play. Nicely done. Chris Carpenter, 1 pitch, 2 outs. We go to the 8th. 4-1 now, Oakland. 8th inning, and we've got the Canadian Tennis Open coming your way on ESPN from Montreal, Canada. Peter Korda and Michael Pernfors and Richie Renberg will face Todd Martin. Now, Martin beat Andre Agassi today, so that's a real thrill of it. Renberg and Martin go at it tomorrow noon Eastern Time, 9 o'clock West Coast, right here on ESPN. The new pitcher for the Oakland A's is Edwin Nunez, and the first man he will face is Butch Davis.
Nunez, one of 8 relievers that's carried on this ball club by Tony La Russa. 13 pitchers at this point.
Davis tonight 1 for 2. That double came back in the 2nd inning, but Ron Darling then picked him off. The Rangers threatened to score in the 7th inning with a base hit. Leadoff single by Juan Gonzalez, but he was cut down trying to steal, and right after that Gino Petralli singled to center field. Swing and a miss by Davis, and down he goes.
You've seen nothing but off-speed pitches from Ron Darling. He sprinkles an occasional fastball. Now you're seeing the split finger from Edwin Nunez. He gets ahead of Davis and finishes him off with that split finger down in the dirt.
Ron Darling trying to win his 3rd game of the year, and Nunez will probably hold it for him. If they score a run or need Dennis Eckersley, he will come on for the 9th inning. He picked up his 22nd save last night in their 2-1 win over the California Angels. Mario Diaz the batter, and he pounds it foul. We're at the Oakland Coliseum in the East Bay of Northern California at the Alameda County Coliseum. Friday night baseball, and it is 4-1 the Oakland A's. A 1-1 game with Nolan Ryan against Ron Darling through 6.5 innings, but Ryan gave up 3 in the bottom of the 7th, and now it's comeback time for the Texas Rangers. Steve Physiak, Jerry Royce with you here in the top of the 7th inning, and the count to Mario Diaz, 1 ball 2 strikes. 6'5", 240-pound Edwin Nunez on the mound. Diaz just stays alive with that swing. Texas really needing this game, as the Chicago White Sox and Kansas City Royals both winning today. And if Texas loses, they'll fall 5.5 games back of the White Sox and 2.5 back of Kansas City. KC got a great performance from David Cone today as he shut out the Cleveland Indians. California winning over Minnesota in the 8th inning 4-2. That is your American League West story. And in the East, only a half game separates first from third place, as Toronto, New York are tied for first, and Boston just a half game out. Foul back. Nunez has always had a good hard fastball, but has never been able to stay away from injuries.
And to complement that good fastball, he has a good split finger pitch. The only problem with guys who throw that split finger pitch is the inability to control it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And often guys with split finger pitches will try to take a little bit off and to keep it from diving too much, and it ends up sitting right down the middle of the plate. It has that tumbling effect. A hitter's able to pick it up early as it leaves the hands, and they make the adjustment in a hurry.
There's the Oakland A's pitching future. Todd Van Poppel coming off of his best outing of the year, a 6-inning 3-run effort and a losing cause to the California Angels, but it was the best he has thrown. He still does not have command of all his pitches, but they have been moving very, very well. He walked 5 men in his last outing, and there's a nice running catch by Lance Blankenship for the second out of the 8th inning. Let's go to Chris Myers.
All right, Steve, we'll check in Anaheim. Twins and the Angels. Mike Trombley pitching to Chili Davis with 2 men on. Base hit scores Stan Javier to give California a 4-2 lead. But Tim Salmon is headed upstream. He's also coming home. The relay, Brian Harper, the tag, and he is thrown out. California still has the lead, though. They're in the 8th. Let's go back to Oakland.
Top of the 8th inning. It is Oakland 4, Texas 1 here, Chris, at the Coliseum. And the batter is Gary Reedus with 2 outs and nobody on. Reedus has scored the only Texas run came way back in the 1st inning. 3rd pitch by Ron Darling. He laced one deep to right center field for a double. Franco sacrificed him to 3rd. Morrow grounded out, and Reedus had to hold, and then Juan Gonzalez knocked him home with a base hit back at the middle. Gonzalez's 80th RBI of the year. That's 2-1. In there, and that was a good pitch. Count 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 4-1 Oakland here in the 8th inning.
Ron Darling, the starter for the A's, is in line to win his 4th game of the season. And it's interesting how La Russa puts together his relief pitchers. Darling at best was 84, 85 miles per hour with a variety of pitches in a variety of directions. Nunez has that good split finger pitch and a fastball that's 90 miles an hour or better. And you could see that Reedus was fooled. That pitch was right up on top of him. If he took a swing at it, it would have been when it was in Heeman's glove.
Outside corner, strike 3, and Nunez gets the Rangers 1-2-3 in the 8th inning. Bottom of number 8 we go. 4-1 Oakland.
1973, Jim Bibby of the Rangers no-hit the A's 6-0. He struck out 13, and Jeff Burroughs hit a grand slam. We return you now to Oakland. Jerry and Steve.
Thank you, Chris. Where it is Oakland 4, Texas 1, bottom of the 8th inning. Steve Physiak and Jerry Royce with you. And Texas brings in a new center fielder, the very speedy Donald Harris. And that will move Gary Reedus to right field, and Butch Davis goes to left. Now, the one interesting element of that, Juan Gonzalez comes out of the game, and you might remember earlier in this contest he was rubbing his shoulder. So some concern about one of the top power hitters in the American League. There's a base hit down the line by Brent Gates. Well, he finally got Ryan out of there, and Ryan hung the collar on the rookie, and Brent sees a new pitcher, and he knocks Chris Carpenter for a base hit. Carpenter, 28 years old. He was the 6th pick of the 2nd round by the Marlins in the expansion draft from St. Louis, and acquired for 2 quality pitchers in the minor league system, Kurt Miller and Robbie Nen. And there were many in the Texas organization that criticized that trade, but Kevin Kennedy said, hey, we needed a good middle relief guy to hold games, and he felt Carpenter was that man. Carpenter throws a strike here, and it's 0-1.
It'll be interesting to see how La Russa plays his offense at this point. They've stole 4 bases tonight. That all was while Nolan Ryan was pitching with that high leg kick, and the fact that Petralli has thrown out just 3 of 30 prior to this ball game. Will La Russa attempt to have a hit and run go with Bordick at the plate? Remember, it was Heeman who hit and ran when Bordick was at the plate, or was on first base, that led to the 3-run inning.
Well, Chris has the count his way, 0-2. Tommy Reynolds flashing the signs down to Mike Bordick with Brent Gates at first base. Gates has stolen a base already tonight. He doesn't go, and the pitch is fouled off, and it stays no balls, 2 strikes. And Bordick has done a very nice job tonight with 2 strikes on him. He knocked in the tying run in the 4th inning with the count 1-2, and Ryan tried to get a curveball past him, and Bordick hung in there and drove it into left field, and then singled and scored in the 7th inning. Dennis Eckersley up in the Oakland bullpen. Let's see if he starts the 9th inning. A's lead by 3. High. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes. With the exception of Tom Henke, the Texas bullpen has really been troubled this year, and that is why they went out to get Carpenter. 22 saves for Henke, 4 blown. Everybody else 3 and 14, only 18%.
My question is, why did he let anybody else try to save a game?
I think it's one of those games where, early in the contest, your starting pitching doesn't handle it. You come back because of your great offense, and the guy who's out there blows it again.
Could very well be.
Well, the count is even. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Mike Bordick. Gates, the leadoff man at first base. He's singled. Now it's high. So Carpenter, after getting in front 0-2, had Bordick foul like 3 off, and now he's worked the count full.
Carpenter, looking for a strikeout, decides to go up, but it's too far up. Bordick's not going to offer it. At 3-2 the count. Will we have a base runner in motion?
And Bordick slams it to left field, but right at Butch Davis, 1 out. We've got SportsCenter coming your way next on our show. Linda Cohn, Carl Ravitch will tell you about the exciting American League East race, preseason NFL. Of course, we've got NFL football coming your way. Philadelphia Eagles and New Orleans Saints this weekend. And that'll be from Tokyo, Japan. Tonight, it's the Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers. First half of our doubleheader saw Boston and Baltimore, and the Red Sox won an exciting game 8-7. And that pulled the Red Sox within a half game of first place Toronto, as the Blue Jays lost and New York won, so a tie for the top spot with the Yankees and Blue Jays. Popped up. Dean Palmer makes the catch, 2 outs. Well, we started the night with Ron Darling matching up against Nolan Ryan, and Ryan had it his way into the 4th with a 1-0 advantage. And Oakland tied it up at 1. And the A's came back with 3 more in their half of the 7th inning. And Ryan stands to be the loser if Texas does not come back. It is 4-1 A's. Ryan would fall to 2-3, and Ron Darling would go to 4-4. There's Lance Blankenship, and he takes high ball 1.
I said earlier in the telecast the fact that 2 things the Rangers are looking for from Nolan Ryan. One is innings, because they want to get the starters into the 7th and 8th innings so that they can have Henke available to close out these games down to pennant runs. The other thing is that they need wins from Nolan Ryan. He pitched well enough, but the hit and run by Scotty Heeman made all the difference in the world as a routine ground ball. But when Diaz vacated the shortstop area, it opened the gates for an Oakland scoring opportunity.
And Oakland did take advantage. Bases loaded walk by Ruben Sierra. One out single by Troy Nee with the bases full. Scored 2 more. And that's fouled back. This is really a transition time for the A's. They're going from what was the oldest team in the American League last year to one of the very youngest.
We knew this was going to happen last year toward the end of the season. A number of their veteran ball players were going to be free agents. Everyone knew that they couldn't sign all of them. So they chose which ones they wanted to keep around, including Mark McGwire. But McGwire, with that foot injury, just hasn't had a chance to play much this year. And it seems that as long as the A's are out of the race, why rush them?
Have to make sure the heart of your team is healthy for 1994. That means Steinbach, Sierra, McGwire. Blankenship takes away, and again, it seems like whenever Lance Blankenship steps to the plate, the count's 3-2. This guy really makes pitchers battle.
Next time.
Maybe he's the heir apparent to the leadoff spot if Henderson's gone.
Well, Chris Carpenter strikes him out. We are through 8 here in Oakland, California. It is 4-1 A's. Swan song at the Oakland Coliseum, but he and the Texas Rangers trail the Oakland A's 4-1. And the save came for the A's comes on Dennis Eckersley, looking at number 23, a 407 earned run average. This is game number 41. And he gets a rousing ovation. He saved his 22nd last night, a 2-1 victory for Bobby Welch over the California Angels. Angels tonight are, and they have beaten the Minnesota Twins. That's a final 4-2. Kansas City winning 3-0 over Cleveland, and Chicago taking Seattle 6-4. Well, here in the 9th inning will be Julio Franco, Rafael Palmeiro, and Juan Gonzalez. Well, Gonzalez out of the game now. So Donald Harris. This game's so important for the Texas Rangers. If they lose, they'll fall 5.5 games behind the Chicago White Sox and 2.5 behind second place Kansas City. Seattle not far from the heels of Texas. A pitch inside by Dennis Eckersley, and the count even 1 ball 1 strike.
We talked about the fact that Nolan Ryan will no doubt go into Hall of Fame 5 years after he retires. What about this guy, Dennis Eckersley, after he retires? Though it's not been the case necessarily when he has to face that first hitter. They've been getting to him just a little bit this year.
You know, I think for the Hall of Fame, you have to be the best.
And you have to be the best for a long period of time.
And you have to dominate the game. And really, for 4 years, he has dominated the game like no other relief pitcher. He was a quality starting pitcher. He is the only pitcher with 100 wins and 100 saves. Dennis Eckersley. Well, he has the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Julio Franco. Stay tuned. We'll have all the scores and highlights coming your way on SportsCenter next. Well, we have the word on Juan Gonzalez. He left the gate with a slight sprain in his left shoulder. It is day to day.
I think Franco took a pretty good cut at that ball. I think so. Such a good cut that he hurt himself, maybe his left elbow. Been slow getting into the box. He's ready now.
Well, he strikes out with Dennis Eckersley. And 1 down to start the 9th inning.
Eckersley likes to get ahead of hitters with that good fastball. This time he takes a little bit off a pitch. And Franco, after taking such a big swing for strike 2, takes less than that to strike out. Very tentative on that swing, wouldn't you say?
Eckersley will really work the corners, and now must do so with Rafael Palmeiro, and tries to drop a slider on the inside corner, but just does miss. 1 ball, no strikes. Palmeiro has seen the average drop to .312 start of the night. at 314. He has been in a real tear, and he takes one back in the middle for a base hit, so Palmeiro is 1 for 4.
No sooner than you can say that Palmeiro's been on a real tear than he swings. You want to know how close 60 feet 6 inches can be from a guy swinging at a pitch? Ouch! Everything goes flying. Hat one way, your hair up another way, and you still have time to take a look at that hitter while his eyes are still as wide as yours. Palmeiro's just as surprised as Eckersley was.
Well, here's Dan Peltier, the pinch hitter for Donald Harris, and he takes a strike in the inside corner. Peltier can get on. Well, that would bring the tying run to the plate. And the booming bat of Dean Palmer. Again, Gonzalez not in the game, out with a left shoulder strain. And that's fouled off. Nolan Ryan's last performance at the Oakland Coliseum. A strong 6 innings, and then struggled in the 7th. Sports Center is coming your way next. They'll be talking about Ricky Henderson. Will he stay or will he go? There is strike 2. Excuse me. Strike 3 to Peltier.
In Eckersley jargon, that is painting the corner, and Eckersley is the paint master. Gets that call and that fastball in the inside corner, and we have 2 outs in the 9th inning.
And here's Dean Palmer. He must get on to bring the tying run to the plate. Strike 1. Good pitch. Count 0-2. Crowd on their feet as Dennis Eckersley tries to close out an Oakland win. Just misses off the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I've often wondered how a hitter can take that pitch so close with 2 strikes. And I finally came to the conclusion that if he swung at it, he probably couldn't hit it anyway.
Counts even, 2-2.
Just missed again off the corner.
See if he comes inside. He's just been working away to Dean Palmer.
Let's see if he goes with a slider or the fastball.
Struck him out. Dennis Eckersley with 3 strikeouts in the 9th inning. Ricky Henderson still a question mark. Will he be in Oakland A tomorrow? Sandy Alderson says the phones have been ringing off the hook. Nolan Ryan loses tonight. He falls to 2-3. Ron Darling goes to 4-4. ESPN's NFL football. The Eagles and the New Orleans Saints live from Tokyo, Japan tomorrow at 10 o'clock. For Jerry Royce.